Being somewhat masochistic, one of my hobbies is watching Creationist lectures on the Australian Christian channel. They're screened weekly and produced by Creation Ministries International, formerly Answers in Genesis. I was going to do a review of this latest lecture, Arguments Creationists Should Not Use, but within the first 3 or 4 minutes, the total lack of logic presented by Dr. Safati just dumbfounded me. I'll show you what I mean. Just when he goes through his outlines, I'll present outline number 1 and his last outline, and just see what I mean.
To get to the topic of this talk about arguments we shouldn't be using, our arguments should be based on the biblical framework. I mean, that's what comes first. What the Bible says must determine the science we use. Now, the science should never determine the biblical framework, okay? That's the wrong way around. That's the Hugh Ross idea. And here's the harder ones, like the arguments which are unsound scientifically, which means they have either a false premise or the argument is invalid, one of those two.
So on the one hand, we are supposed to base our science on what the Bible says, yet not use scientific arguments that are based on a false premise. Safati, you're an idiot. How much more of a false premise can you have basing your scientific arguments on a book that's thousands of years old, written by people who had no idea of what science is? They even thought the world was flat. They knew nothing about science and the way the world works. This sounds very much like the Kansas School Board trying to redefine what the meaning of science is, so as to include the supernatural as an explanation. Science is nothing to do with the supernatural. Science is the explanation of nature. It's based on what's observed, not what's written in the Bible.